the most famous paintings of Giorgio de Chirico. In this video, we will see the most famous works of Chirico, the Italian artist of the Metaphysical Painting Movement, most famous in the entire history of art. The Melancholy of Departure. Work of art by Giorgio de Chirico from the year 1916. Of Greek origin, de Chirico was attracted to travel as an idea and felt identified with the Argonauts, travelers from the classical mythology of his country. And in this picture we see all the preparations for a true metaphysical journey. As we know, the Scuola Metafisica was a few years ahead of Surrealism, combining in a very disconcerting way scenes of modern life and visions of antiquity. Everything as if it were a dream. That is why the Surrealists kissed the ground walked by this artist who painted this painting exactly 100 years ago, when he was 28 years old, a little before the official birth of the Surrealist movement. In The Melancholy of Departure, de Chirico gradually abandons his Mediterranean urban landscapes and enters his phase of rooms crammed with objects. Here we see almost a cubist still life in which maps, strange instruments, flags and pieces of what seem to be his famous mannequins are piled up, now disarmed, probably because of the game to which the title alludes. All put in a grey room, in which through the window we see one of its exteriors in silence. Hector and Andromache. Work of art by Giorgio de Chirico from the year 1917. Adolgo is understood in Hector and Andromache by Giorgio de Chirico. It is the desperation of the woman about to become a widow, contained in an accusing embrace from which a thunderous lament escapes, like a bell striking against soil. She knows that her husband will most likely not return from the battle, and will leave her with a child in her arms and with cold skin. He holds her against himself, as if in a begging gesture of mercy, of anguish, of an honor that she has to save. De Chirico approaches the theatricality inherent in the scene from several perspectives. The color is violent, visceral, the posture of the characters, so clinging to each other, so immersed in the moment, the lines, so angular, so agile, so sharp, the gesture, of imminent agony, of immediacy, of helplessness in the face of misfortune. Hector surrenders himself to death in an act of honor and Andromache refuses to let him go. The juxtaposition of the rigid forms is opposed to the rather organic outline of the bodies, representing the inescapable force of the will of destiny and the finitude of the flesh. It is a moment of passionate recollection, of denial and helplessness for her, and for him, a last breath on the skin of her wife, who wets his curls with salty tears. "Don't go," she asks her husband, but Hector has already left. Andromache is already a widow. The Love Song. Work of art by Giorgio de Chirico from the year 1914. 10 years before the creation of Surrealism, Giorgio de Chirico already gives here a clear example of what a dream painting is, with those unlikely encounters between dissimilar objects, modern and ancient. The work shows the author's typical Mediterranean architectural exterior landscape, but in this case the painter focuses on a wall where the head of the Belvedere Apollo is placed next to a red surgeon's glove and a green ball. In the background, you can see the profile of a locomotive. What does the Italian metaphysician want with this enigmatic representation? Well, maybe nothing in particular, and probably everything at the same time. He wants to subvert the logical presence of objects, to go beyond the physical world. With its melancholy atmospheres, its empty architectures in dark passages, its dreamy silence, its solitude with traces of human presence, it evokes the deep absurdity of a universe that would end up torn by the First World War. It is not a secret that Giorgio de Chirico was a fundamental figure for the Surrealist movement. Many authors of this current got into it because of the Italian. In fact, they say, René Magritte became a Surrealist after seeing this painting. The Prophet. Work of art by Giorgio de Chirico from the year 1915. Classic example of metaphysical art. Chirico was several years ahead of Surrealism, combining in his dreamlike images the modern and the ancient, the real and the dreamed, the calm and the unsettling. Because there is nothing more disconcerting than his silence, his deserted squares, those classic minimalist architectures, those shadows projected on the ground, those living mannequins. Legend has it that he began to paint these strange scenes by having, like Munch, a mystical vision in the Italian square, Piazza Santa Croce, that would lead him to the world of art. His paintings are disturbing, but also very poetic, evocative, profound. Nobody can deny the beauty of these simple paintings, because perhaps there is more logic in those illogical scenes than in real life. Here the prophet is a mannequin looking at a blackboard, which perhaps contains the most primitive secrets of the universe, but a shadow to the right seems to threaten the tranquility of the sunny square. That was all for today's video. Tell us what you thought, and if you liked it, please give us your subscription and your like. This way you support the art community on YouTube. Until the next video, have a nice day.